Ladies, today I want to speak directly to your worth. In a world that constantly teaches women to give, to bend, to adjust, and to settle, I'm here to remind you of your boundaries, your energy, your time, your love. These are sacred. And while love is beautiful, it should never come at the cost of self-respect. Let me tell you 12 things a woman should never do for a man. 1. Never shrink yourself to fit into his comfort zone. You are not too much. You are not too loud. You are not too ambitious. A man who's intimidated by your power does not deserve a front row seat to your greatness. Your dreams are valid. Don't downplay them to make him feel bigger. 2. Never give up your career or passions unless it's your decision. Supporting a partner is one thing, but putting your entire life on hold for someone else's journey, that's how resentment grows. You are allowed to have a purpose that's just yours. 3. Never lose your voice to keep the peace. Silence is not harmony. If you're swallowing your truth, you're slowly silencing your soul. Speak, say what you feel. A man who loves you will listen, not punish you for being honest. 4. Never stay with someone who disrespects you. Disrespect doesn't just come as yelling or cheating. It's ignoring your boundaries, making fun of your pain, or gaslighting your reality. You deserve someone who uplifts you, not one who breaks you down to feel tall. 5. Never betray your friends or family for him. If he asks you to turn your back on the people who have always loved you, be cautious. Manipulators isolate before they dominate. Keep your circle. Protect your roots. 6. Never let a man define your beauty. You don't need to be slimmer, lighter, sexier, or quieter for him. You are already enough. Beauty isn't something to be tailored to someone's preferences. It is something you define every single day. 7. Never settle just because you're afraid of being alone. Loneliness is hard, but losing yourself is harder. Don't tie yourself to someone who doesn't deserve your forever just because your today feels empty. 8. Never fund his lifestyle while yours suffers. You are not a bank. You are not his mother. Support is mutual. But don't carry the full load financially, emotionally, or mentally while he just receives. That's not love, that's exploitation. 9. Never sacrifice your mental health for a relationship. Love isn't supposed to leave you drained. If you're constantly anxious, crying, overthinking, pause. Relationships should heal, not harm. Prioritize your peace. 10. Never ignore red flags because you see potential. Potential is not enough. You're not here to build a man. You're not a rehab center for emotionally unavailable people. Value what he shows, not what he could be. 11. Never make yourself small to protect his ego. Celebrate your wins, shine your light. If he feels threatened by your success, that's his insecurity. Don't dim yourself to make him feel secure. You were not born to live in the shadows. 12. Never stay where you are not growing. You deserve a partner who grows with you. Someone who challenges you, supports your evolution, and celebrates your becoming. Don't be loyal to stagnation. Never abandon your purpose for a partner. It may sound simple, even obvious, but so many women, knowingly or unknowingly, begin to let go of the dreams that once lit them up inside, all for the sake of love. It starts subtly. Maybe you miss a few meetings to make time for him. Maybe you turn down a project because your relationship is going through a rough patch and he needs you to be more present. Then maybe you stop applying for roles that would relocate you or decline opportunities that would make you too busy. Before long, the passion that once drove you is replaced by silent sacrifice, all in the name of being a supportive partner. But here's the truth that too many women learn too late. Love should never ask you to abandon your destiny. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to dream big and pursue your calling relentlessly. A partner who truly values you will not just accept your purpose. They will respect it, support it, and make space for it. Because real love doesn't suffocate growth, it encourages it. There's a false narrative that a woman must choose between love and ambition, as if having both is greedy or unrealistic. That belief is rooted in outdated thinking, where a woman's role was to support her man's journey while putting hers on hold. That era is over, and if you're still living in that pattern, it's time to break free from it. A relationship is not a retirement from your goals. It's a partnership, not a pause. And if someone asks you to give up your dreams to make them feel more secure, you need to ask yourself, do they love you, or do they just love how easily you abandon yourself for them? Because love built on sacrifice alone is not sustainable, eventually resentment grows. You start to feel invisible in your own life, like a background character in someone else's movie, and the worst part? You begin to question if your dreams even mattered in the first place. But they did, and they still do. Your passions are not selfish. Your purpose is not a threat. The right partner will never see your success as competition. In fact, they will see your wins as their wins too, because when someone loves you fully, they don't need you to be less to love you more. They want to rise with you, not above you. Don't fall into the trap of waiting for the right time to get back to your goals. Don't wait for the relationship to be more stable or for him to give you permission to chase what's yours. Take your space, make your moves, protect your calling like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. If he truly loves you, he will walk beside you, not ahead of you, and if he doesn't, let him walk away. You were not put on this earth to be a shadow of yourself for someone else's comfort. You were born to shine, to build, to create, and to live a life that feels like yours, not a role written for someone else's narrative. Never shrink, silence, or compromise who you are just to be accepted or loved. From a young age, many women are taught, directly or indirectly, that they need to soften their edges, speak less boldly, and dim their light so they don't make others uncomfortable, especially men. They're told to be easygoing, to not be so loud, to stop being too much. And so, little by little, they begin to shrink, not physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. They step back, smile politely, and start making themselves small to make room for someone else's ego. But what happens when you keep silencing your thoughts to avoid conflict? When you stop celebrating your wins because he doesn't like the attention you get? When you suppress your opinions because they challenge his? You begin to disappear. You become a version of yourself that feels manageable to him, but foreign to you, and that is not love. That is erasure dressed up as compromise. You were not born to be palatable. You were not put here to be digestible for someone else's insecurity. Your voice, your confidence, your ambition, these are not flaws. They are the best parts of you. They are the parts that will move mountains, inspire others, and carve out the life you dream of. But none of that can happen if you keep dimming your light to keep a man comfortable in your glow. A man who truly loves you won't need you to be smaller. He won't ask you to speak less, dream less, or shine less. He'll admire your strength, not fear it. He'll cheer for your wins as if they were his own. He'll recognize that you are not a threat, you are a force, and he'll never want to dim that force because he'll know how rare and beautiful it is. Yet so many women stay in situations where their worth is only acknowledged when it's quiet, when it's convenient, when it doesn't challenge the status quo. They walk on eggshells just to keep the peace. But peace built on silence is not peace, it's performance, and no performance can last forever. Eventually, something breaks. Maybe it's your spirit, maybe it's your confidence. Or maybe it's just the moment you realize that you've forgotten who you are because you spent too long trying to be who he needed you to be. Let that be your awakening. Let it be the moment you stop asking, "Am I too much?" and start asking, is he enough to handle all that I am? Because the right one won't flinch at your power, he'll stand beside it proud. So don't shrink, don't apologize for taking up space, don't quiet your dreams to protect someone else's ego. Stand tall in your truth, speak loudly in your purpose, and love yourself enough to know you don't have to be less to be loved more. You were never meant to fit into a smaller box, you were meant to break the mold. And the man who deserves you will never want you to be anything less than everything you are. Never mute your voice to maintain peace. Silence may seem like the easier path in the moment, but over time it becomes a prison. So many women choose silence, not because they don't have something to say, but because they've been conditioned to believe their truth will cause tension, be misunderstood, or worst of all, drive someone away. But holding back what needs to be expressed isn't preserving the relationship, it's suffocating it. Your voice is your power, it's your truth, your boundaries, your identity, and every time you suppress it, you're sending yourself a message, my feelings don't matter. That message becomes internalized, you begin to doubt yourself, you second, guess your instincts, you start minimizing your emotions until you no longer trust what you feel. And that's exactly how women lose themselves in relationships, not all at once, but word by unspoken word. There's a myth that women who speak their minds are difficult, that asking questions, setting boundaries, or demanding clarity makes you too much. But that's not difficulty, it's dignity. If your presence depends on your silence, then that space was never meant for you. A man who is truly invested in you will not only hear your voice, he will value it. He'll want to understand you, not silence you. Speaking up doesn't mean you're attacking. It doesn't mean you're being aggressive. It means you're being honest. It means you care enough to confront. It means you're invested enough to say, this matters to me. Love without communication is like a house without a foundation. It looks fine from the outside, but it can't stand the weight of real life. And here's the deeper truth. When you keep quiet to keep someone else comfortable, you make yourself uncomfortable. When you protect their feelings but abandon your own, you're not keeping peace, you're just postponing pain. Because silence doesn't erase the problem, it just buries it, and buried things don't disappear. They grow. They fester into resentment, into distance, into breakdowns that could have been avoided with a single honest conversation. You deserve to be heard, not just when it's easy, not just when your opinion matches his, but especially when it doesn't. You deserve to be seen in your fullness, even when your truth is messy, raw, or hard to digest. Love that requires you to mute your pain, your needs, your dreams, that's not love, that's control disguised as compatibility. You are not fragile for expressing yourself. You are not dramatic for needing clarity. You are not problematic for saying, this doesn't sit right with me. You are self-aware, you are brave, you are honoring yourself. So speak. Speak even if your voice shakes. Speak even if he rolls his eyes, even if he tries to minimize you, even if he tells you you're overreacting. Because your truth deserves space, and the right man won't just give you that space, he'll make sure you never feel like you have to fight for it. Disrespect doesn't always come with shouting, slamming doors, or harsh words. Sometimes it comes disguised as subtle sarcasm, dismissive comments, or being constantly made to feel like your concerns are not a big deal. Sometimes it looks like being interrupted when you're speaking, ignored when you're hurting, or laughed at when you're being serious. The truth is, disrespect can be quiet, polite, and even well-dressed, but its impact is loud and it cuts deep. Too many women tolerate disrespect in the name of love, thinking it's just part of the package. They convince themselves that it's okay, that he's stressed, or that he didn't mean it that way. They rationalize and excuse and absorb, and with every excuse made, they allow a little more of their self. worth to erode. But here's the harsh truth: if you tolerate disrespect, you're teaching someone how to treat you. Love is not supposed to hurt your dignity. It's not supposed to leave you questioning your worth, your sanity, or your value. You are not supposed to feel like you're walking on eggshells, constantly managing your emotions just to avoid conflict. That's not partnership, that's survival mode. You were not born to survive love. You were born to thrive in it. There is no badge of honor in staying with someone who consistently undermines you. You don't get a reward for being the strong one who puts up with poor treatment. You don't earn love by enduring pain. Love that has to be proven by your suffering isn't love at all. It's emotional manipulation. And manipulation doesn't always scream, it whispers, it gaslights, it makes you question your reactions. It leaves you wondering, maybe I am overreacting. Or maybe I'm just being too sensitive. Loneliness can be heavy, especially in a world that constantly reminds you that being in a relationship somehow validates your worth. Society often paints singlehood as something to be fixed, as if a woman alone is a woman incomplete. And so, many women fall into the trap of settling, not because the man is right, not because the relationship is fulfilling, but simply because being with someone feels safer than being alone. But there is a kind of loneliness far worse than solitude. It's the loneliness of being with the wrong person. It's lying next to someone who doesn't see you, shrinking in a relationship where your needs aren't met, or smiling through silence because you no longer feel heard. That emptiness is louder than silence, that pain is deeper than solitude, and that is not love, that is fear in disguise. Settling happens when you choose to ignore the red flags, when you tell yourself he'll change. When you minimize your desires, hoping that if you just give a little more, love will finally feel the way it should. But love should never feel like begging. It should never make you feel like you're too needy for wanting emotional connection or too difficult for asking to be prioritized. You weren't made to survive a relationship, you were made to live in one. When you settle, you trade your highest potential for temporary comfort. You tell yourself this is good enough, but deep down you know it's not. You silence the voice inside that wants more, needs more, deserves more, and over time that voice becomes a whisper. You stop dreaming, stop asking, stop reaching. You become smaller just to fit inside a relationship that was never big enough for you in the first place. Don't let loneliness convince you to invite chaos into your life. Don't let the fear of being single keep you tied to someone who doesn't celebrate you. Your value does not decrease because someone else fails to see it. And you are not unworthy just because you haven't found your match. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. There is strength in standing alone when you know your worth. There is peace in choosing yourself over someone who doesn't choose you fully. And there is growth in allowing yourself the space to evolve before you share your life with another. You don't have to rush. You don't have to settle for attention when you're longing for affection. You don't have to give your heart to someone just because they're available. You owe it to yourself to wait for alignment, for partnership, for real connection. Because you are not hard to love, you just haven't been loved right yet. Let the lonely nights teach you what you need. Let the silence guide you to your truth. Let your solitude become the soil where your confidence grows. And when you do meet someone, let it be from a place of wholeness, not lack. Let it be a love that adds to your life, not one that tries to fill a void. A relationship should feel like peace, not pressure. It should ground you, not drain you. Yet so many women remain in situations where love becomes a battlefield, where they're constantly defending their worth, proving their value, or fixing what they didn't break. That's not love, that's emotional warfare. And the cost, your mental peace, when you love someone who brings chaos into your life through manipulation, inconsistency, dishonesty, or emotional neglect. You start to normalize the tension. You convince yourself that love is supposed to be difficult, that maybe you're just being too sensitive or too emotional. But being constantly on edge, doubting yourself, or feeling mentally exhausted isn't love. It's survival mode. And your nervous system knows the truth even before your heart does. You were not made to carry someone else's emotional instability on your back. You are not responsible for healing his trauma, decoding his silence, or proving over and over again that you're worthy of basic respect. That's not partnership, that's performance, and it's a performance that costs you sleep, confidence, joy, and clarity. Peace is not something you should have to beg for. It is not something you should only feel when he's in a good mood or when everything is going his way. If love brings more confusion than clarity, more anxiety than assurance, more silence than support, it's not love. It's emotional noise, and noise will never allow you to hear your intuition clearly. Your mental well-being should never be sacrificed just to say, I have someone. The price is too high. Your dreams fade. Your glow dims. Your self-trust withers. You begin to question everything that once felt solid within you, and slowly you forget what peace even felt like before him. You owe it to yourself to protect your mind, your space, your balance. If a relationship constantly disturbs your mental peace, it's not a relationship. It's a disruption. You don't need a man to complete you, fix you, or validate your existence. You need someone who brings safety to your soul, who speaks life into your days, and who never makes you question your sanity for feeling what you feel. Love should feel like exhaling after holding your breath. It should feel like being seen and still being free. It should never feel like a job interview where you're constantly trying to prove your worth. You don't need chaos to feel passion. You don't need emotional highs and lows to convince yourself it's real. Stability, peace, consistency, these are not boring. They're beautiful. They're the foundation for something that lasts. So don't stay where your peace is a casualty. Don't invest your energy into a person who leaves you more anxious than assured. Your peace is sacred. Protect it like your future depends on it, because it does. The right man won't just love your body or admire your beauty. He'll cherish your peace. He'll protect your heart and your mind. And most of all, he'll never become the reason you lose your balance.